All right, good morning. Morning, Island. Morning, Momentum Trader. Got a new week. But my area is on fire again because we got smoke everywhere outside. Morning, Tig. DFNS is our third leading gainer right now. Close to being our second leading gainer. The top two are a little bit cheaper. One is Aerospace. Don't see any news. It did have a recent reverse split though. So I suppose this is the last week before my 1 year trading anniversary. I opened my first brokerage account right at the beginning of August. I was thinking of doing a video about my hotkeys and my entire setup in general. Some people have been requesting it, and it's pretty frequently asked. I'll probably get that done at some point soon. I also picked up Trading in the Zone and Best Loser Wins, and I read them both over the weekend. Morning, Vito. So we're going to be working on our psychology. Morning, Apothecary. Morning, Jay. Morning, Doom. Share some of the things that I picked up reading. Sure. Just give me 1 second though, in case this breaks through VWAP. I might have to consider it. DFNS. It's our third leading gainer here. Moving quickly. I'll buy 20 shares. Stop is 675, which is VWAP. Just going to give it a little bit of time. I have this pullback as 726. So it looks like we're kind of struggling here. I'm just going to get out. Yeah. So just buying the dip there at around 7, seeing that it was holding 7. Stop was just below the low of the pullback there. Higher volume buying than selling, waiting for the pop up. I could have sold up at 740, but you don't know what it's going to do, right? If this punches through 750, then maybe I could have added to another pullback, but I'm just trading small share size. That's fine. I mean, tiny winner. Nice, Kadira. Yeah, this could have been just a 1 minute micro pullback, although it was a bit of a longer bodied candle. I think that this could have gone through 750. But this is one of the first things, I mean, if I want to talk about what I picked up reading over the weekend, it's that anything can happen in the market, really. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to predict what's going to happen. You can try to based on behavioral patterns, but there's so many factors that you don't really know exactly what's going to happen. Right? Any individual in the market could suddenly put out a huge sell order and affect the price movement. There's no reason to get attached to your trades because every trade is unique in that sort of sense. And you know, I picked up from trading in the zone in particular some mantras and stuff about being a consistent winner. The 7 principles of being a consistent winner, and then the 5 understandings of the market. I touched on it just now for the understanding of the market. Anything can happen. every moment in the market is unique. I don't need to know what happens next to make money. I just need to trade an edge consistently. I need to objectively identify those edges and trade them consistently. And that an edge is pretty much nothing more than just probabilities, right? We have to trade and think in probabilities. So right here, for example, in this trade, my particular edges that I'm thinking about are going to be, overall, in a nutshell, it's, are there more buyers than sellers? So like, is the stock doing something out of the ordinary? And are there more buyers than sellers? So I'm looking at the volume profile in particular for my conviction to buy. And if it's presenting an edge to me. Right here, the stock was moving quickly. It broke through VWAP. One of my 3 edges is the stock breaking out of a range? Is it breaking out of something? So it's breaking out. It pulled back. We had higher buying volume than selling volume here. And the trade did work. It just didn't follow through and continue going higher, which is fine. You just set your stop to break even if it goes higher and then it pulls back. But my 3 edges are that I'm going to be using for conviction in my trades together with the volume profile are, is the stock breaking out? Is it making new highs, or is it moving quickly? If it's doing one of those 3 things, then my stock selection criteria is good, because edge doesn't mean anything without stock selection. And the volume profile looks good, then I'm going to buy on a dip. Doesn't matter why, doesn't matter whatever. I mean, there could be other indicators that might keep me out of a trade, like if the 200 on the daily is near, the usual Ross Cameron things. I think those could affect my trade. But in general, for the most part, I'm going to be buying on dips if the volume profile looks good and an edge is present to remove my hesitation. And we're going to do that for a while, and whether we win money or we lose money, it doesn't really matter. What we're doing is we're proving a concept. And then we have to adjust accordingly. The first step is consistency. Morning, Center Star. Morning, Lauren. And the other thing is that we're not trying to beat the market. We're not trying to extract the money from the market. We're simply waiting for the market to present opportunities to me. And I act on those opportunities. That's pretty much what I learned. I mean, there's more things, but I don't want to go into a ramble about everything. I would recommend to buy the books, because I think they were helpful to me. Trading in the Zone and Best Loser Wins. They were both very good books. I'd recommend to check them out if you haven't already. I also recognized in that trade there, I still feel some nervousness as I'm getting into trades. We're going to try and remove that. I have to continuously monitor myself. That's why we're only trading with 20 shares for a little bit. Well, maybe 50 shares. We'll see. 20 to 50. I'll keep an eye on this, but we have a tweezer top on the 5-minute. MACD's close to crossing over, and we have more selling volume than buying volume, which I don't particularly like. But if it can break this pivot of 750, maybe it has a chance of retesting high of day. I'm not sure why PAVS is moving, but it's still in super light volume. Doesn't have any news that I can see yet. Oh, is that right, Lauren? I've never had that issue, but I use TradeZero Canada. I don't know if the Canada branch is different from the US or the international branch if you're in the US. But I've never had that problem before. I've traded with 50 shares and 20 shares plenty of times. Yeah, it might be an international issue, possibly. At least TradeZero Canada doesn't do that. Are you also on the pro platform? Because I know that there's the free platform as well, and there was another one. There was two other ones. Okay. Yeah, I'm on the pro platform too. I don't know. I don't know why that would be other than it's an international issue. I'm down right now. I'm not profitable. A week ago, before last week, I could have said that overall, over the course of 200 trades, I was only down 45 bucks, trading like 50 to 100 shares, which is pretty good, right? That's basically break even. But that's if you don't include the commissions of $100. Because half of the trades were with TradeZero, half of them were with Sim. Basically losing on commissions. And then last week I had a $90 red week, so now I'm further down. So I'll just say that I'm not a profitable trader yet. Yeah, that could be. That could be. So objectively speaking, I was just considering whether I should have taken some profit up at 740. I don't think so. I was waiting specifically for 750 to take some profit because I was risking 25 cents, more than 25 cents. So I bought with 20 shares, even though I was risking maybe 25, 30 cents, I was only risking like $6. So it's not a big deal if it drops back down past my stop, but I was waiting for at least 750 to take some profit. So I think I executed that just fine. Didn't then end up pulling away. Hmm. Coming back up here again. So considering LGHL is still below VWAP, if MACD can curl positive here and it breaks 740 or 749 here in the 750 level, then maybe we can have a squeeze. If it is true that they're selling shares into the pops, then it's probably not going to make a difference, but looks like there might also be some descending resistance here. Okay, it's popping there. MACD's about to cross over. I don't like how big that selling candle is on the 10-second. I think that's too much selling volume to trust it right now. So we'll see if it holds up. I see a 22,000 share seller at 7:30. It's 7:30 in about a minute. Very quiet. Yeah, right now we're looking at the Rocky Mountains with all the trees on top of the mountains. Do the Rocky Mountains have trees? I don't remember. Anyways, a bunch of hills with trees. I can answer that question for you, Center Star. Trade Zero is conditionally free commissions. If you trade Ross's strategy, probably not. But you can get 0 commissions if you trade non-marketable limit orders. So let's say on this, well, Trade Zero only has one route, which is smart routing. They don't have any other routes. Trade Zero doesn't have direct routing, as far as I'm aware, at least in Canada International. I don't think they even have it in the US branch. So it's just smart routing, and it's not commission free. It's generally like you generally have to pay commissions on marketable orders. Only free on non-marketable limit orders. I'm gonna check my hotkeys. What is buy 10 set to? Yeah, it is set to Alt S. Okay. Well, this is attempting to pop up again. MACD is still negative. I'm going to see if it holds up. Well, you might have some ascending support, potentially. Probably better on, whoops, do that. Want this one. Better on the 1 minute here. Yeah, that looks about right. I think this could potentially be ascending support. You'd probably be better looking at this than the 9 EMA. Maybe, I mean, it is holding the 9 EMA as well, but we've got a nice triangle here. Triangle of support. You see when it pops up here on the 10 second, it's got higher volume selling. We have to see if this actually holds up. The 5 minute did close with a nice big green candle, but we have decreasing volume on the 5 minute. We have to see what it does. I still see that 23,000 share seller popping up there. Like, if you guys saw that, they keep popping up. Like, are they going to go away, or are they just going to keep selling shares? There's someone with a big order that keeps pushing it down. Okay, does it break through 750? And hold 750? Looks like it's going. Nope. It's not holding. So we kind of have to see if this 5-minute candle holds up. Morning, Fukuro. Doing all right so far. Not many opportunities here, but we're waiting to see if this holds up. Finished my homework over the weekend, so I wish I could say starting today, just reading those 2 books, I am now a consistent trader. That's going to be our goal, but it's going to take a while. I don't like this grindy price action. Don't think it's a good setup yet. I think we need to continue to see it hold up. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I came into trading almost a year ago in a few days. Back when I first started, I watched a few Ross Cameron videos and I jumped in and I started a broker. I'm like, oh, this is easy. You just press some buttons. It's this and that. And then I lost money. Then I realized it was a marathon. So this is our second leading gainer right now. I'm still a little bit worried about that seller. It just feels like this isn't right yet. Yeah, I would have thought that it would have gone as soon as it broke 750 there, and then it got pushed back down. If it continues to hold, and this is actually a short seller and not just the company selling shares, then we might see some capitulation. But if it's just the company selling shares, then that's not good because the float is going to be higher than we think it is. Something interesting to note, by the way, is that there was recently an announcement that they're changing the NASDAQ minimum requirement to have a minimum market cap. So reverse splits aren't going to work anymore, which means we might see an influx of companies that do reverse splits ahead of the change to get ahead of it before they're not allowed to do it anymore, I guess. Well, I guess they can still do reverse splits. It won't change the market cap. So, I mean, maybe they might try to do a reverse split and then release news to increase the price. Get traders excited to jump on. That could be the reason why they do it. But, I mean, just doing a reverse split won't increase the market cap, so... Oh, that's right. This moved a week ago. So we're kind of on the backside of a move here. High is 869. This just looks like a pop and drop stock, honestly. This one moved even prior there. Above 9. Yeah, this might not be the right one to trade. See. We'll see what it does, but... What happened last week with this stock? From 24 to 35, gap down. Hmm. This is forming a bit of a 5-minute bull flag with a bottoming tail right now if it holds 750. MACD is negative though. I use TradingView charts, and the cost is about, I think it's just under $50 a month, but that's because I bought it an annual sub on sale. It was like 50% off sale or something for an annual sub. TradingView does them quite regularly for like Black Friday or Valentine's Day or like just general holidays. They'll do annual sub sales. If you're willing to commit to it, you can get 50% off or 75% off on a sub. And I also pay for the market data for it so that it's completely separate from my broker. It's just a preference thing. I prefer having separate applications of things in case one stops working, or in case I need to swap one out for something else. Like if I want to trade in the sim, and I don't have to use the sim charts, I can use these charts still. Or if I swap to Webull or something, I don't have to use the Webull charts. I hate the Webull charts. I mean, they're not bad, but they're just, I don't like the Webull Canada platform as a whole because of the sizing issues and stuff. But yeah, it's about $50 a month that I picked it up with the annual sub. It would be more expensive without the annual sub. No, I'm not using TradeZero charts. I like the look and the intuitiveness of TradingView better than the TradeZero charts. And also I can have my extra side chart windows up there in the top, and I can do drawings that save across all of them. And I like the different types of drawings that I can use as well. I don't like the TradeZero charts as much. They're functional, but it's just a preference thing, I think. I can also connect, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I can connect my TradingView charts to my scanner as well, my charts watcher. So whenever I click on a scan, it just opens it up on the chart. And then if I like what I see in the chart, then I can type in the ticker on the level too. It's a tiny bit faster workflow just being able to click on things whenever they pop up. I haven't checked if you could connect your TradeZero to Charts Watcher. Let's see. Um, no, it can connect to Webull, Lightspeed, and DOS Interactive Brokers, not TradeZero. On TradingView or Charts Watcher? Because I can on Charts Watcher. Um, not sure about TradingView. Let me check. It's apparently I can, yes. Sharing toggle next to chart layout name. Yeah, I can share the layout, and then I guess I can send a link Yeah, so TradingView can share layouts as well. So I am gonna do a video at some point which talks about my entire setup, and I can probably just include a link to my charts watcher in the video and my TradingView in the video as well. I'll give a little bit of a disclaimer on my charts watcher in that Eli helped me set up some of my charts watcher stuff, so it's not all mine. My leading gainers, low float top gainers, and running up are mostly mine. The Hive Day Momo and the 5 pillar scans are from Eli. He's another YouTuber who's in the community. Yeah, I'll do a video on that soon, and I'll put my links in there. So it's 8 a.m. We're watching for news. We got going here. Biotech stock, 13 million share float, up 10% right now. It doesn't have any volume. Looks like the penny being the volume right now. I'm not interested in penny stocks though. They're not a part of my strategy. Just have to be aware that it's eating volume right now. It's up 57%. Anything else pops up. This doesn't look like it's moving. Looks like it's selling off. This not applicable anymore. Yeah. One thing I wondered before the PDT rule change was whether penny stocks would explode in popularity since we have a lot more retail traders in the market, and a lot of retail traders like trading penny stocks because of that sort of gambler's idea that they could buy something down at like 30 cents, and if it goes up $10 a share, then you're going to have a bunch of shares. It seems they have become a little bit more popular, but not enough that I'm comfortable trading them. Oh, by the way, Doggo returned from his vacation, so he's back. He's back now. That was I think that was the reason why I had a red week last week, because Doggo was missing my emotional support. So there we go. He's back. Time to make money again. He's just sleeping in his bed beside me. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get your steak and coffee today, Momentum Trader. If we don't have anything moving. On vacation? Yeah, that could be. Running a. Well, one thing I wonder, um, if you guys have noticed, the sentiment has been that the first three 1 minute candles are kind of exploding. Like some stocks are going up 100, 200, 300%, and then they just roll over. Like the normal 1 minute patterns aren't really working. So I'm wondering if we have some newer traders just jumping onto momentum and not really understanding what's going on, and then you have maybe some people short selling at the top. So you don't have as many people jumping onto the actual, normal pullbacks. You have more people just aggressively shorting it at the top. Kind of what I'm wondering, since kind of what's been happening recently ever since the PDT rule change. So maybe vacation, maybe some are still relevant, and then eventually maybe a bunch of them learn, who stick around actually end up learning the patterns. Because it seems a bit more erratic than usual. Like, I don't know if that's just me. A Happy Meal? I haven't had McDonald's in a long time. I might have McDonald's like once every few years. Fast food really isn't my game anymore. Yeah, gotta get in on the front side, get the scalps, and then not get caught on the back side while it's picking up speed downhill. How old is your daughter, Momentum Trader? If she's young, I'm not surprised. All the kids love McDonald's. Ten. I remember when I was a kid, my parents used to take us to Mickey D's all the time. French fries and chicken nuggets. That was the meal for me. Sometimes I do still crave their French fries or their chicken nuggets once every couple of years. But I'm also aware of just how unhealthy that stuff is now. The most expensive Big Mac country. I don't even know how much a Big Mac costs here. Yeah, it's the same for me, Center Star. Like I'll occasionally go get some if I just don't feel like cooking one day for whatever reason. And like I have a Subway close, so usually if I don't feel like getting something, it'll either be like a sub or pizza. Very rarely like McDonald's or Burger King or anything like that. But when I'm traveling, it is another story. I went on a work trip about a year ago, so I had to swap between pizza, McDonald's, and all the other nasty stuff. It's good, but you feel gross after a while. At least I do. I don't even like their burgers though. I don't like Big Macs. Their cheese is just gross. Feels like I'm eating plastic. A sausage biscuit. There's something at Tim Hortons here. Probably a lot of you don't know because you don't have Tim Hortons. But Tim Hortons is kind of like the Canadian version of McDonald's. I go to Tim Hortons a lot more than I do McDonald's. But I mean, I guess they're kind of equivalent, so they just don't sell like the bigger meals, but they sell like sandwiches and wraps and soup and stuff, along with coffee and donuts. So they're not really McDonald's, but they have some stuff that you could buy. They have pizzas now too. They're trying to become McDonald's. Uh, I'll usually get like sometimes in the morning when I'm going to work, I'll get a sausage farmer's wrap. It's like some egg, sausage, hash brown in a wrap, grilled, and then they have some sauce in there. That's pretty good. It's like some sort of chipotle sauce. I like that. That's my breakfast. Or sometimes just a regular, just a sandwich, just a turkey bacon sandwich or something. And then a nice cappuccino. You've been there, Island? Yeah, if you've ever been to Canada, you've definitely seen one because Tim Hortons are literally everywhere in Canada. In my town, if I had to count them, one, two, three, four, five, there's got to be a million of them. There's probably like 15 or 20 of them here, my town. So Turb is popping up here with some news. I don't really like Turb. It's usually really choppy. We're very close to the 200 moving average, up at 182. We're on the backside of a move here from March. This one pops up but can never hold up. Nice. My friend lives in Montreal. Yeah, unless this can break $2, I'm probably just gonna leave this alone. EDBL is up 36%. It's agriculture though. Significant Walmart distribution. Well, that sounds like pretty good news. It's up 100%. Good float. Bit of a bigger pullback. It's quite big selling volume candles there on the 10-second. Let's see what it does. Yeah, that's quite strong. That's surprising. I've never seen an agriculture sector stock go up this much before. It's very rare. I usually don't like the agriculture sector for stocks. According to my rules, however, I should have bought this ABCD pattern down here. So there you go. Hesitation number 1. That's bad. So we should have bought, according to my rules, I should have bought this because it's higher volume buying, lighter volume selling. We're up very quickly on the day. The news looked good. I should have just punched it on the pullback for even just 20 shares. I just wasn't sure because of the agricultural sector. Not usually that good. But I need to start just listening to what the market is doing rather than what the market has done in the past. What the stock is doing. But now we're on the 1 minute chart and it's got a big topping tail. High volume selling. So I think I did miss this opportunity. Yeah, having a big name there, since Walmart distribution is pretty good. Yeah, I think you're right, Football Master. Exactly, Lauren. And I think that's exactly why a lot of traders struggle, including myself. And that's why I read the psychology books over the weekend so that I can hopefully stop doing that. I can buy the front side and not get frustrated and buy the back side or chase it after I get frustrated. Buy it while it's going strong and then kind of leave it right here while it's just selling off. Could have gotten a big winner. Darn. Yeah, I should have bought it. I should have bought it 660. Right here. So my new strategy is, it's not new, but it's the same thing I've been doing, except it's supposed to be my conviction for getting into the trade. You can see increasing volume, lighter volume on the pullback, even though there was kind of like 2 bars of not really higher volume. It was still less than the buying volume. So I could have gotten in on the first pullback, could have gotten in on the second pullback because we still had increasing volume on this pop. I could have bought both of the pullbacks here. First one scalped out, second one scalp out all the way up here. So the volume should be my conviction to get into the trade. I don't know why I didn't. It continues to be a problem. So we're gonna work on this problem one step at a time. Earlier this morning I managed to get into a trade very quickly. But I think I'm settling into a routine, which is bad. My old routine. So I need to continuously monitor myself to get out of this routine of like being so picky. Just because it was agriculture sector, I'm like, I don't know. price action is kind of more important, and the news itself was good. I should have taken that into account. Yeah, it is a nice ABCD set up on the 10-second chart for sure. How to avoid this? Well, I'm still learning how to avoid it myself. But I read a couple of psychology books over the weekend, Trading in the Zone and Best Loser Wins. And they talk a little bit about that, about how to be a consistent trader and like the properties of the market and whatnot. And one thing to understand about the market, I suppose, that you kind of have to channel your beliefs into is that anything can happen, really. You gotta let go of you have to accept the risk. Anything can happen. And you don't need to know what's going to happen next to make money. You just need to know, like, technical analysis is still important, but you need to rigidly define your strategy in a way that will get you into setups consistently, and then also believe that you're willing to take the risk and that you're willing to cut your loss if it goes in the wrong direction, but see the market and probabilities and know that every time you enter, it could do anything, but over a long period of time, statistically, if you can consistently enter that position whenever you see that edge appear, whenever the market presents you with that edge, then you take the buy, knowing that, yes, it could be a losing trade, but that doesn't matter because you know that that particular setup and that particular entry over a long period of time is just a set of probabilities. So this is popping up again. It punched through VWAP there. So let's see if we can maybe find a pullback. This is high of day. Let's see if it consolidates there. Where's the base out? 850, 830. I'll take a position there. I got filled a little bit high. So stop is 850. I just got back out because it kind of rejected there. If I was fast enough, I could have taken some profit there, but I got distracted because something popped up on my screen when I took the position there. It was just 20 shares, so we're getting a feel for it here. I think that was a good buy. I could have bought just a little bit earlier, but I got filled too high. So what should have happened there was I should have bought closer to 850 and then scalped as it popped up to 9. Sold half, and then as it came back down, then it would have been, the rest would have been break even. It would have been a good trade. So that was just a small losing trade there, but it's not a big deal. Because that was a problem with my execution, not with the entry itself. I'm not shorting anything. I don't do short selling. As soon as you sold, it popped up $2. Oh no. That is brutal. But what if you set a hotkey to buy 2 shares of a stock? Then you can enter the trade without any fear. That's a possibility. But I think like I'm just trading 20 shares. I shouldn't be feeling any hesitation even with just 20 shares. 20 shares is a very small size compared to what I normally do. I think that I don't need to go down further. I think I just need to kind of deal with the problem. And the way to avoid hesitation is by practicing the trade in the front side of the move the right way. Yeah, trusting my own analysis and intuition. ENTX is popping up, but this float's too high. I'm not even going to look at it. Almost 40 million. But you know what? I'm already feeling, I mean, I have to be confident in my strategy, right? I'm pretty confident that my strategy works. Over the weekend, I spent a lot of time doing VOD reviews and stuff and imagining myself performing. And then when it comes to when it comes down to executing it in real time, right there, I missed, I missed the first candle and I missed the execution on this. But they were both, they were both winning trades, and if they don't work out, they don't work out. Like the very first trade I took this morning didn't end up working out. I just cut it break even. That was fine. I do believe my strategy works. Just need to believe in myself. Thank you, Grace. Welcome. Nice job on that 30-cent scalp there. Yeah, I know how you feel, Tig. Doesn't feel great having to get stopped out and then rips without you. So I'm gonna challenge myself here. I've been trying to challenge myself, but I'm gonna emotionally disassociate myself here as best as I can. I just took a loss, but it doesn't matter. The next trade, I just need to focus on the execution. I get presented an opportunity. ENTX. I haven't even looked at it since it's a 40 million share float. I guess it's going up a little bit. 38%. Surprisingly, it doesn't have as much volume as I thought it would for a higher float, a cheaper price. I think that this one might not hold up very long. I think this does have a chance of curling up over 10 EDBL. It looks like it is popping back up. Did a sub VWAP drop there. A little bit surprising to me. I suppose I mean a 200 oversubscribed 275 million private placement is quite good compared to some of the other private placements we've seen. It's a $250 million. I think it's just moving a bit too slow for me. Oh yeah, that sucks. I wonder if you could see on my stream that pop-up, whatever popped up when I hotkeyed in, that distracted me. It's not good that something that small can distract me from getting a scalp. The other thing that distracted me was the fact that I mean, I should have used my other hotkey, not the one that could get me in too high. I should have used my setup order hotkey instead of my actual other one. Let's see. No, it's not showing on stream. It's like a little window pop up. What is that? I think it had something to do with like maybe the fact that I was clicked on the magnifying glass or like in this text box. No, not an order confirmation pop up. It looked like a tooltip almost. I don't see it on stream. Maybe it would be on my recording when I look later. Sometimes I get that. I have to figure out what that is. That stops happening. when I press, my hotkey to, I have two sets of hotkeys. My first set is just like get me in no matter what. It's like buy 15 cents above the ask immediately. So if it pops up 50 cents, then it'll get me in up 50 cents like right as I enter the hotkey, potentially. And then I have a setup. So it kind of fills out the order on the level 2 window here. So if I press Shift W, it'll set up an order, and then I press enter to buy. And I don't usually have issues when I do the setup order. Like I don't have anything pop up on my screen. But sometimes when I hotkey in Alt W to get in immediately, it'll pop up like a little tooltip or something. I think it's if I'm clicked into this search window potentially, but I don't want to do it in case I accidentally buy. I'll have to go look at my recording. But I got distracted for two reasons there. The first reason was because I probably shouldn't have used my actual hotkey that got me in 20 cents above where I wanted to get in. I wanted to get in down at like closer to 850. And so I had to quickly adjust my mental stop. So I wanted to get in at 850 and then put my stop down like down at 830 maybe for that pullback. Yeah, the low of the pullback was about 840. Because I got in too high, I had to adjust my stop to 850. Otherwise, my risk would be too much. And then I also had to adjust in the moment, like where do I take my first profit? If I get in at 870 and I'm risking, 30 cents, then I need to take profit up at like 920, 930. But if I had gotten in closer to 850, it's very easy for me because it's like, oh, it just pops up to 9, then I take profit at 9. Just bad execution, getting distracted. This should have been a winning trade, but it was just bad execution. Yes, I'm on trade 0, and I don't short. No, I'm not comfortable with shorting because of the potential for unlimited liability. So I'd rather just focus on long in small caps and not go short, because I've seen stocks pop up like $20 a share instantly sometimes. Sometimes it's like you could literally get struck by lightning and my career as a trader would be over. I don't accept that. So with long bias trading, the worst I could do is, I put in $2,000, I lose $2,000. As long as I'm not using a crazy amount of margin, like that's fine. But the worst thing that could happen to me as a short seller is like I get in on a penny stock and then it rips up to $20 instantly. And then I get margin called. I think I would be more comfortable short selling if I was doing it on large caps. Because it's very, very, very uncommon to get stuck holding a big position in shorts where it just rips up a ton. Far less likely to happen in large caps, almost impossible. Yeah, and the floats are so small. Sometimes, like if there's very light volume too, and it's just algorithmic trading, the algorithms can like just absolutely smoke you. Sometimes they rip up for like $5 a share for no reason, just instantly. Like I said, I've seen it one time. There was a like some sort of Chinese stock way back it was trading at like 40 cents and it ripped up to $10 in one 10-second candle on news. Like if you buy 1,000 shares of that and it rips up from 40 cents to rips up 10 points, like there goes $10,000. Nice job, Momentum Trader. I'm staying out of this stock because its float is outside of my strategy, so I'm not going to trade it. It's too slow. Too slow for me. Well, um, yeah, Yasini, whatever you prefer to be pronounced. I'll pronounce it Yasini. Technically, it does, but most people, what happens for short selling for most people is that they'll have a steady rise in their equity and then suddenly they'll have one huge loss. And then they'll have a steady rise in their equity and then they'll have one huge loss. And so their P&L looks like a bunch of mountains, right? Especially because a lot of short sellers usually they like adding to their positions as it goes higher and higher and higher. And eventually you're going to they run into a situation where it just never goes down. It just continues going up. And what happens then? You get margin called and your account gets blown up. So there's a lot of short sellers who go on long streaks of winning until their account gets blown up. But that's in small caps. There are plenty of short sellers in large caps and like futures and forex and stuff that short sell there. And then there's also options, which I think it doesn't have unlimited liability. If I'm correct on that, I don't know as much about options, but in large caps, it's less of an issue because they have higher floats. They're regularly and frequently traded, and you're not going to get stuck in a 100-point squeeze randomly in large caps like you could in small caps. Like Fukuro is saying, yeah, sometimes we literally have halts at $2 a share and it halts up $500. There's a video that Ross Cameron has on his educational portal, and I think that he's talked about in some of his YouTube videos where he was experimenting with short selling for a brief period of time. And he was looking at a Chinese stock that was like, halting down, and he was looking at maybe buying the dip on it. It was at like $2 or something. Fukuro said. I think that might be the example that Fukuro is even talking about. Is like he was looking at buying it on the halt down for the resumption to go into another halt down, and he didn't get filled on his order by some grace of God, and it halted up and resumed at $500 a share. Like if $1,000 at resuming from $2 to $500 is like your trading career is done. Because you're gonna owe money on top of like losing your entire account. You're gonna owe money to the broker now. So me personally, my risk tolerance, I'm never touching short selling. I don't care. Unless I switch to large caps in the future, then I'm just never touching it. It's just outside of my risk tolerance. We're coming up to 9 in 4 minutes, 9 a.m. We'll see if we get any other opportunities, but if we don't, then it is what it is. Today, for my strategy, should have been a winning day. But it was my personal execution on the second trade that caused it to be a losing day. And my hesitation on jumping in on that trade as it was going up on EDBL. So we got two strikes on the first day already. We got to redeem ourselves. Or maybe not, maybe redeeming ourselves is not the right way to think about it, because we don't want to go into the next trade with baggage. I just need to focus, not think about the past. I'm aware of the mistake that I made, but execution will just naturally get better with time the more I trade. But we need to treat each trade as a new unique opportunity. Right here we have MACD crossing. A little bit far below the lows, or the highs, which is up at near 10. I'll adjust this, 994. Stephen Dew. I've never actually heard of him before. I'm just generally concerned about a lot of traders on YouTube that just don't show their P&Ls live. If you think about it this way, right, is that statistically, according to our brokers, what was the statistic? Like 90% of traders aren't profitable. Maybe like 9% of them are like barely profitable, and it was like 1% is consistently profitable. Is that the statistic? Something like that. So if you think about it in terms of YouTube, if you have 100 YouTubers out there, statistically speaking, only 1 out of 100 YouTubers are actually consistently profitable if all of them claim that they're consistently profitable. So keep that in mind when you're looking at YouTubers, and every single one of them is like, I'm making $1 million. Chances are 1 out of 100 YouTubers are not a millionaire, or not millionaire traders. It's also this kind of environment too, though, where there's so many liars that I'm hoping that I can be one of the few that can actually show my journey where I can turn unprofitability into profitability, and I can show it live streaming because I'm not afraid. And there's nothing wrong. There's a lot of people who are profitable and they don't stream because it's a lot of pressure. I understand that. You need a lot of focus. So that's part of the reason why there's so few small cap streamers as well that actually are profitable. Ross Cameron being one of the exceptions, and that he has an exceptional flow state where he can get into a trade and not be distracted by anything else. So it's rare to find actual honest content creators who are showing their P&L and are actually able to sustain that pressure. It's all wishful thinking though, unless I can get past this tendency to hesitate on my trades, which I believe I will. I just need to continue. Yeah, I'm curious about that too, Fukuro. Do you know how they proved him to be fake? I think that there was also another trader that people were saying were fake, like TJT Trades, whatever his name is. And then there was one Lance B also made a video recently. I didn't watch it, but apparently there was another person that he was accusing. Um, they're both large cap traders, I think, or futures traders. I don't remember what his name was. TJR. Yeah, it could be TJR trades. I'm curious if Bass is around still, if he's in the chat. I think Bass mentioned to me, or initially presented that particular YouTuber to me. Where's his name? If he has any opinion on that video. Where was it? Trades by Psy is accused, well, being a fraud. A GPU. Maybe over 10. Can't finagle it enough. This does have, it did have 8:30 news. I just wonder why it didn't have more volume at 8:30. The news seems okay. Like secures 1.5 billion dedicated AI infrastructure contract. It sounds good. Oh, well. Oh no, this is the same news that it released on the 22nd. So I mean, this is the same news that it popped up on a few days ago on the 22nd. So it's not new news, I don't think. Unless I'm reading it wrong. This is 1.3, this one's 1.5. I mean, we got a pivot above VWAP there. It tested twice. But we do have a problem here now that we have a jackknife rejection off of it. Yeah, I think I know what that pop-up is. I can see right now in particular on my level 2, when I click off and I click back onto it, it automatically highlights my or the ticker. So if I just hotkey in Alt W, it's gonna like pop up the prompt as if I'm typing it in. I think I've had that issue once before in the past. I think that's what happened. I just need to make sure that I'm clicked off of it. Like I click onto level 2, so I don't get that pop up. Because now it's not highlighted anymore. It's only if I'm highlighted into the ticker and then I click off and I click back on. So I just need to make sure that I'm not highlighted. What's going on with BIYA? Kind of got two stocks moving at once here, but I don't see any fresh news on this. This should be on the back side of the move. Yeah, this is a bounce off the low, so I'm not particularly interested in BIYA here. I think that this isn't the right stock to trade. I'm just waiting to see if this is going to hold up and curl back up. I just don't trust it too much because of this jackknife back here. And the fact that we have BIA moving at the same time. So we might have a bit of dispersed attention. All right, thanks for stopping by, Grace. So the question is whether this is an ABCD pattern over 790. Seems to be the case. So we have, what's going on here? I mean, we have this popping up as well. So has Tesla in the news, but we have higher volume selling than buying right now. Up 35%. Okay, so it's starting to pull away. Let's see if we can look for a pullback. Where's the base out? It's a high volume selling candle there, so there's no entry for me on that. We'll see if it gives us a pattern on the 1 minute. So the high on this is all the way up at 473. Low of this pullback is about 355. Yeah, I think it's not holding VWAP very well. You opened a position on EDBL at $8, 10 cents risk, close it at 8.20. Yeah, I think that was an okay opportunity. It was an ABCD pattern and a 5-minute breakout above 790. I think you're right. Wow, that's pretty nasty. But I think this is exactly the encapsulation of like anything can happen in the market. It can go up 100% and then do a complete round trip. This is why you always cut your losses. Never hold in hope because, yeah, you can just get smoked. So I'm just looking at right here. I mean, this was kind of an ABCD pattern. Like right here, it had higher volume selling than buying. So I wasn't a buyer here. But right here, when we had this pop and then it pulled back, technically higher volume buying than selling on this for an ABCD as it continued holding up. Could have been a buy for 360 for the pop up to 470. It was still kind of light volume though. Wasn't no, there was enough volume. I think I should have punched it on this as well, according to my rules. But this one's a little bit more iffy, I think. It's definitely more iffy than EDBL was earlier. EDBL was like I 100% should have punched that. This one's kind of like I probably should have punched it just because my rules said I should have, even though it was a little bit iffier. Right here might have also been an opportunity. So higher volume buying than selling. As it breaks through VWAP, you buy the first pullback, stop as VWAP. Then you sell as it holds up. Maybe add as it forms this ABCD pattern and breaks 8. Make some profit at 8.20. JZXN I see on the scanners, but I'm not interested in JZXN at all. This stock is way too choppy, usually. Cheaper. This is probably just going to double top, if I had to guess. E3. It is a Chinese stock, I suppose. 35%, which means, well, put it up. In our top 10 leading gainers, but it's still not obvious. Yeah, it just ends up flushing there. Typical JZXN. Doggo came to say hi. What's up, buddy? What's up? What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Market's open. Charts are lagging. Watch what EDBL does. Nice momentum trader. You see how my level 2 is lagging? The Trade Zero does this at market open. On the chart, it was already up at 8:30, but my Trade Zero was like 10 or 15 seconds behind. That's one thing I'll clarify for anyone thinking of swapping to Trade Zero is that trading, you can't trade like on super high volume first 3 minutes of market open. Doesn't work. Otherwise, I might have been tempted to punch it down here for the break back through VWAP. It did a sub VWAP trap there for a red to green move. Nice job, Fukuro. Green is good. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. So I'm gonna stop my recording. Let me pull up. I'm not sure if I'm going to take any more trades. We'll see what EDBL does, but I don't really want to trade halt resumptions. They're a bit riskier. Let me open up my recording to see if I can see in my level 2 recording that pop up on that second trade. I might be screen capturing on that, maybe. Let's see. No, I can't see it either. Not screen capturing, that's why. Well, this is resuming higher at 850. It's resuming in a minute here. It's right below that pivot level. 855, 856. See, my trades are lagged there as well. It resumed, but there still wasn't anything happening on my level 2. So I think I have a little bit of a problem trading the opening bell with trade 0. I did Asu. I should have traded the very first ABCD pattern on the 10-second. So, slap myself in the face for that one. But I did trade one of the pullbacks here, and I messed up my execution on it because I got distracted when I had a pop-up and I didn't take profit fast enough at 9. So my second trade on EDBL should have been a winning trade for a scalp up to $9 from like 850 up to 9, but I got filled too high, I got distracted, had a pop-up, and then I ended up selling for a loss as it kind of rejected there. right around right here. I was intending to buy the dip here at around 850, stop of 840, and then scalp up as it popped up above 9 there. But it did a quick rejection. It was on the curl back up. So I traded this, but I didn't trade this because I was like agriculture sector, but you know what? That's just my hesitation again. So I gotta have more faith in my strategy. The strategy is what produces profits as long as I can execute on it, not me. So should have bought this. Didn't end up buying it. Really dumb. But that's pretty much the recap for today, though. I mean, my first trade was okay. I got in on the dip like I was supposed to. I started the day strong, and then I kind of got into a routine, I think, rather than continuing that focus. So the first trade, although it was only a 4-cent winner, it did have the potential to move that buy on DFNS. It just didn't end up moving. Fine. The next opportunity was EDBL. It didn't take. And then the third opportunity, this was an opportunity. This buy, it was a good place to buy, but I messed up the execution, and so we're red on the day because of it. But we're only trading with 20 shares because I knew that I would be a little bit uncomfortable with the changes in my strategy to try and get rid of this fear and hesitation that I've been having. So tomorrow we're going to come back. We're try not to carry baggage from the previous day, and we're going to continue working at not missing these moves. Trading according to my strategy rigidly. It's going to sound like a broken record to some of you at this point, but I just got to keep moving. So this is halted down now. EDBL, LGHL below VWAP, BIYA is popping up here. It feels like it's hard to jump in. Yeah. I have to be willing, or we have to be willing, to accept the risk that comes with it, and then be confident enough in our strategy that we just cut the loss if it goes any lower, and if the market gives us an opportunity, then if we see the market in probabilities and over a period of time, as long as we adhere to our strategy, then the strategy is what produces the profits for us. The process, not the outcome. That's the way I'm trying to adjust my mentality, but it's difficult. When you trade every day for a year and you get into a certain habit of like, oh, I gotta look at this thing, gotta look at that. I feel like thank you, Kingman. I feel like that very first trade was a step in the right direction, and then this trade that was a loser is a step in the right direction. I just need to keep, whenever I see an opportunity, I just need to trust myself, and I need to trust what I'm reading on the chart. The more I do that, the easier it'll be to execute. But it's not a process that happens in one day. Struggling with holding winners. I think I used to struggle with that at some point. I don't remember what I did to fix that. Mm. I think the risk reward mindset really helped me hold my winners longer. Understanding risk reward. If I'm risking 20 cents, then I need to make at least 20 cents for the trade to make sense. So I kind of just to work on that, what I did was I understood how risk reward and like how like the mathematics work for how you make money as a trader. So I understood that every time I set a stop out loud and I'm like, this is a 20-cent stop. Okay, well, I can't take profits until 40 cents if I want a 2-to-1, or I can't take profit at least until 20 cents if I want a 1-to-1. So I just started looking at the trades I was taking and then saying out loud my stops and then identifying a first profit target. So if I have 20-cent stop, next profit target is probably going to be the next half or whole dollar for 40 or 50 cents. And so I just never took profit until that point. Doesn't mean that I would exit the whole position. Maybe I would take half and then kind of see what it does. So that's how I fixed that problem. Yeah. Like right here, for example, if I got in at 4 and I'm saying, well, my stop is like a breakdown, it might end up, like if it capitulates, I might end up with a 15-cent loss if I enter here at 4. Because if it breaks down 4, it's probably going to jump down 10 cents instantly, 10 or 15 cents. So I'll say my risk is 10 or 15 cents, so I need to at least make 20 cents of profit for the profit loss ratio that I want. So if I get in at 4, I immediately look at my stop. Like I don't care about anything else except for my stop right away. So my eyes will be trained on the ask. If it hits 390 or 385, then I just hit the bid. Doesn't matter what happens. But if it goes in the opposite direction, then I start loosening up. I'm like, okay, well, it's going in the direction that I want now. So now I can start focusing on looking at where to take profits. So if it goes up 20 cents and it reaches the level that I want, maybe 425 being the next psychological level of resistance, 4 up to 425 for the amount of risk that I'm taking, then I take half at 425. But if it's moving really, really quickly, then there's no point in taking profits at 425 until you see momentum stalling, because you're just cutting your winner short at that point. But if it moves up 425 and it starts stalling out a little bit, then that's when I take some profit. Yeah, trading pre-market and trading regular market hours are definitely different. Nice trade on BIYA. Well, I'm curious if my strategy would work here. 376 up to 4. It looks like it's the same. So if I'm trying to use volume bars as my conviction to get in on a trade if I see an edge. So I'll reiterate what I said earlier for anyone who's still watching. Like I'm not looking to take trades right now. I'm looking to observe, because I'm pretty much done. I trade mostly pre-market, so I don't know if I'm going to take any more trades, but I'm observing this right now to see what it does, if it's the principles are kind of similar to pre-market, which I think they are. My 3 edges are, the stock is doing something extraordinary. First being if it's making new highs, which this is, if it's breaking out of a range, or if it's moving quickly. So this had two or three of them. It was making new highs and it was moving quickly. I guess you could say all 3 because it did break out of this range that I was trading in earlier. It was doing something extraordinary. So there you go. Stock selection. It has all the pillars of stock selection. Good. That's out of the way. Now we look at volume and like if it's forming a pattern. So back here, volume wasn't that great, but it was still generally higher volume than selling. And on the 1 minute, it was like kind of equal. So maybe a trade there is questionable. It's still below high of day. But it breaks high of day, starts moving quickly, and then I would be looking at it up here. So there's a lot more buying volume than selling volume. So I would look to buy a pullback, maybe like right here on the very first pullback candle. So buy a dip maybe at 365, stop as low of the pullback. Maybe a few cents below 360, you set your stop. Or 362, 363. And you just hold. Or you could wait for an actual visual pattern. So right here, it kind of does an ABCD pattern. Pulls back, pops up, pulls back again, holds that level. Still higher volume buying than selling. So you buy the dip there, 366, 367. Stop of 365, 364. And then you just sell it for a bit of profit into the move according to your risk reward. So I mean, this would have worked right here. And then you once you take some profit, then you adjust your stop to break even. So I probably would have got stopped out here around break even. So I made a little bit of profit on this. Then it pulls back. And this is kind of a far pullback. Not sure if I would buy this, but the principles are still kind of the same, like higher volume buying than selling. Especially on the 10-second here, you have higher volume buying than selling. So you can maybe buy for the hold of this level as it pops back up. But I mean, this one is not as clear cut. That's supposed to be my conviction, though. Just looking at the volume bars. That's the one thing that's supposed to help me get into trades, to stop my hesitation. As long as I do the checklist properly and everything else. Get in on a dip. But I think we failed. We half failed at that today. We failed on the stock that mattered. Green on LVWR. Oh yeah, this one's kind of moving nicely too, isn't it? Broke through that 200 moving average. It has a 10 million share float. It's a bit higher float, but it is up a good amount on the day, and it broke through that previous high there. On the 10-second, it doesn't look so good for volume. We got higher volume selling back here. Selling volume is pretty much equal with the buying volume, so this might be a bit of a struggle up here. But on the higher time frame, it does have higher volume buying than selling right now. Kind of at this daily level right now. Next level's up at 5. We'll see. Maybe I can get an execution on this if this begins looking all right. I'm worried that it's a little bit extended on the 5-minute here. The best place to buy would have been like back here. Yeah, it did feel a little bit extended. Now we're kind of selling off a bit too much almost. Low that pullback was 290 on this previous red candle. Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty much the it's pretty much how I um, treat my level of importance as well. Like once I'm in the trade, I'm pretty much just looking at level 2 and just glancing at the chart. Or once I'm like about to take a trade and it's just the level 2 and like slightly the chart, like I'll glance at the chart. Before the trade, I'll use the chart for conviction, but the 5-minute time frame is like for consolidation or in extended periods. The 1-minute chart is pretty much what I'm looking at most of the time, and then the 10-second chart to gets a little bit of extra context on like the volume bars and whatnot, and a potential point for an entry. One-minute candle to make a new high seems to be a trap. Um, well, it depends on what time frame you're looking at. I think that right now there aren't very many setups appearing on the 1-minute chart like Ross Cameron's setups for 1-minute candle to make a new high. They're not appearing very often. You usually have to like be a lot quicker on the front side of the moves while things are still extending. Like right here, for example, 1-minute candle, first 1-minute candle to make a new high, it worked fine, right? Above 240. But it's the front side of the moves that matter. Like here as well, 325 up to 350. They're just appearing less often and they're working less frequently. Because sentiment has shifted in pre-market at least. I mean, they work fine, but just gotta make sure you're on the right side of the first 1-minute candle to make a new high. And make sure that it's not too extended. Like if you're getting in on first candle to make a new high after the stock moves 300% in the first 3 1-minute candles, then it's gonna work less frequently. Be extended. right here, it pulled back a little bit too much. Usually when we're looking at first 1 minute candle to make a new high, Ross says specifically that the pullback on first 1 minute candle to make a new high should be 50%. It should maintain at least 50% of the previous extension candle. Preferably 75%. So like right here, for example, midway, like 50% of the extension is like there. 50% of the extension for this is like right here, probably the top of this previous 1 minute candle. So if it pulls back below that, then we're not looking at a first 1 minute candle to make a new high, because now it's kind of trending in the opposite direction. It pulled back a little bit too much. Ross can do 10-second chart, but it's too choppy. I think what I've done, or what I'm trying to do, is find a medium. Like, I'm not looking specifically at the candles as much anymore. Sometimes I will for the pattern, but I think what matters more to me is the volume bars on the 10-second and a bit of multi-time frame alignment. Generally speaking, if we're looking at a pullback on the 1 minute chart, and there's very clearly higher volume buying than selling, then I'll kind of adhere to the 1 minute. I think the 1 minute is more important. But when a stock is first popping up, or sometimes in general, I'll look at the volume bars on the 10-second and see if generally like volume is increasing or selling volume is decreasing. There's higher volume buying than selling on a micro pullback. Then there's a little bit of multi-time frame alignment between the 1 minute and the 10-second. And it's supposed to be my helpful indicator for me to get in on a dip or a pullback. So I'm not looking as much as at the pattern on the pullback, as more as I am like, okay, is there higher volume buying than selling on this pullback? I'll get in on the dip. And then if there's a actual setup that forms, then maybe I could add to the position. I'm confident that it's going to hold up and give us a good opportunity. What am I looking at when judging the level 2 in a possible trade? Well, there's a few things that you should look at when you're watching level 2. And Momentum Trader can correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're supposed to look at the ask in particular. I kind of look at both sometimes. Like on a pullback, I'll look at the bid, see if there's any bidders stacking up, and watch the bid price to see where it bases out. And when it's going up, I look at the ask to see if there's any big sellers on the level 2 in the way of as the stock is moving up. So if there's like a 10,000 share seller, a 20,000 share seller on the ask, then that can potentially be an exit indicator, because they're going to be in your way, unless they're an order spoofer and they're just trying to fake you out. But if there's a big seller that pops up on the ask, you got to be cautious. Might want to get out of the position if there's a lot of high volume selling as well. Like, say for example, I'm watching the bid on a pullback. I'm watching for green on the tape to see if there's a lot of buyers stepping in to keep the stock pushed up. Or if I'm looking in to get in on first candle to make a new high as it starts moving quickly, or if we're looking at a curl, then I might look for the tape speeding up. So if there's lots of green on the tape and it starts speeding up, you'll notice that the tape kind of maybe goes at a rhythmic pace for a while until it eventually, when buyers start coming in, you'll notice it starts like going faster. The other thing that you should be looking for on level 2 is the spreads. So if there's like a 10-cent or 20-cent spread, then you probably got to take smaller size, because when you get in on the ask, you're going to be down 10 cents instantly. And if it reverses on you, generally stocks with higher spreads are going to have bigger ranges. So you gotta be careful about that. So you gotta look at the spread before you get into the trade. and kind of size appropriately according to how fast it's moving and how big the spreads are. Another thing that you might look for is like hidden sellers. So if you notice that a stock is trying to punch through a level, but you don't see any particular big sellers on the ask, but there's a lot of selling volume where it's like not able to break through, then there might be a hidden seller sitting at that level. There's quite a few things to watch for on the level too. It's a bit difficult to keep track of it all, but I think the more you practice, the better you get at it. I'm still like not great at it. Like I understand the things that I'm supposed to look out for. Sometimes I do place a little bit too heavy emphasis on the chart still, but level 2 is critical. I agree. Buys the bid and sells the ask. I don't think I've ever tried to get in on the bid because I don't want my order just sitting around. But theoretically, you could put out just a order on the bid as it's dropping, and then you would get filled. Like if you bought a dip and you just threw out an order on the bid, probably would get filled. I guess depending on how big your order size is. But I've never really actually tried that. When you did 200 shares? Well, for our account sizes, theoretically, I mean, if we can get a good cost basis just buying on the bid as it's dropping on a dip, and then you can add to the position if it keeps working. I mean, that would make sense. I think with Ross's size, he can't just let it leave his order on the bid, though. I think he's probably got to hit the ask. Hoping for a curl on LVWR. I guess this would be a dip off of VWAP. Stop would probably be below below these candles here, below VWAP. Not a part of my setups, but could work. MACD is just negative right now, so I think it's not gonna curl up for a little while. All right, have a good day, Asu. I think I'm about to be done here as well. I gotta get off, go to work, I think. Where are these blue lines? My line's all blue now? They are blue. I guess it doesn't matter. I could try blue lines for a little bit. Yellow's kind of bright. I hope so. I have a feeling that day's gonna come real soon. I'm due for it. Well, that's a gambler's fallacy. I'm due, right? I'm so due. I had a $90 red week. I just keep losing. The next one's gonna be a winner for sure. Dang, you exited that position too early there, Asu. Right as it started curling up. The hedge funds, they saw your order go through and they said it's time to pump it. Bogdanov. Yes. Starting about the beginning of August, it'll be like my 1 year anniversary. If you don't count, like I found trading mid-July, but I spent 2 weeks just messing around in TradingView, so I don't really count that. Like literally just paper trading, just hitting random buttons, being stupid. Um, so the beginning of August was when I started taking it seriously and actually got like a sim and stuff, and a small broker, just trading 5 shares. So it's been about a year, yeah. I haven't missed, well, I've missed maybe like 1 or 2 days when I'm forced to. Otherwise, I've been here every day. And there was one time where I was here for half a day and I decided to go to sleep because I was really tired and I was like, there's nothing moving today. It was like a Friday. And then I went to sleep and I came back later. I woke up and I'm like, stock moved 300%. And I never did it again. Even if I'm dead, I'm still here. No, I'm not green overall. I'm red overall. In the past 30 days or 40 days, I was green. I was starting to get green there, but then I had that $90 red day last week. So now I'm about break even for the past 30 or 40 days. Or maybe slightly red if you include commissions. Well, it is better to start with having a someone to guide you and give you the right concepts. It makes things a lot faster. When I started with Ross Cameron, and you have kind of certain concepts of psychology, maybe that you don't take them seriously right away, but then you realize how important they are. You can kind of rein yourself in, I suppose, before you get into too many bad habits. Whereas someone who's been trading for 5, 10 years without having any resources and they kind of just do whatever and they're not profitable, they probably build up a lot of bad habits over that period of time. So it's lucky for traders who are just coming into the market right now or even a year ago to have resources that are available to them to try and get on the right track early before they start picking up bad habits. You will still pick up bad habits, and I have had bad habits before that I've fixed. Like I used to hold and hope. I fixed that. I used to FOMO into trades at the very top. Fixed that. Right now, you guys see very heavy discipline. I didn't always have discipline. I had to work on that. But that's only because I was aware of the issues that I was able to work on them. So It certainly takes a long time. So this one looks like it's kind of curling up, but it's chopping sideways. I don't think there's going to be any other opportunities. BIYA kind of curling, but I still think this is on the backside of this big move back here. Kind of a dead cat bounce. It's just not the right stock to trade. Already jackknifed once. This might curl back up, but I don't particularly have time to sit around and wait for it. I think I'm going to call it here, actually. Just a small red day, because we're only trading with 20 shares while I'm trying to fix my bad habits of hesitation. So we're going to come back tomorrow and do the same thing. And just continuing to little by little gain more confidence in buying dips. Well, which bad habit are you talking about in particular, Kingman? Because as you see right now, like, it worked. It's different for everybody, but I can tell you how I fixed my old bad habits, and I actually did post one video already, talking about how I changed my risk reward. I do have one video already talking about how I fixed that particular habit. If you look on my channel, basically what I did was I started with, like, for holding losers, I started with every trade is a 5-cent stop. It doesn't matter like what happens. I only traded between a certain price range, and I said if it doesn't go immediately, then I'm out. And that's how I started building that habit of just cutting my losses. It didn't matter what happened, 5-cent stop. Focus on the right entries, get in as it's going up. And if it goes in the opposite direction, you just get back out. And I just did that over and over and over again. Didn't matter my P&L, didn't care. And as I got used to that, then I started like actually planning my profit loss ratios. So I would say out loud, okay, I have a 10-cent stop now. This is, if I enter at 3, stop is 290. And I just focus in on the bid. I don't care about anything else. I focus in on the bid. If it hits 290, I'm out. If it goes up, then that's great, right? Then you can just take some profit. And I just continue doing that over and over and over again. Calling out my stop. If it reverses, then I get out. And then I started working on planning my my profit targets once I started getting used to my stop. So stop is 290. So that means I'm risking 10 cents. I need to plan for a 20-cent profit. And I did that by looking at psychological levels of resistance. So if I'm in at 3 or 305, then I'm risking 10 cents. And the next obvious level is 325, right? So that's where I focus on taking my first profit target if I want a 2-to-1 ratio. Assuming that I'm trading the right stocks, because stock selection is very important. If you plan a 20-cent profit target on a stock that's, has a 5-cent range, it's not going to work. Or that doesn't have volume or isn't moving or, breaking out, it's not going to work. So that's what I did, just little by little. How long did I do that? Probably a few weeks. I think it's going to be different for everybody, but it was a few weeks until I started setting, doing multiple types of stops, like stop according to what I'm trading and where, changing it so that it makes sense instead of just an arbitrary stop. Now it's breakdown of support, or now it's, 5 cents below the low of the pullback, or 3 cents below the low of the pullback. You change it from a 5 or 10 cent arbitrary stop to now the stop makes sense. So it was kind of a transition. So I did maybe a 5 cent hard stop for like 3 weeks, and then I started feeling like I was getting used to doing that. And that's when you start trying to incorporate new things, is when you feel like that habit is built. And then you try to adjust the habit to make more sense. Have the stop built into every order you send, but that doesn't do anything for your discipline. Like if I just get a program to set a stop in every single order I send, like it's not gonna help me like change my mindset. It's just gonna be relying on something else to do that for you. And I will try and use like limit order stops, like stop limits for getting out break even occasionally. Like I'm gonna try and start using that, but you can't use stops during pre-market. Like market stops, they don't work. So what I do is I kind of set mental stops. If it reaches this price, then I'm out, and that's gonna have slippage, unfortunately. But it's kind of just is what it is. Ross does the same thing. He has mental stops. So you want to set your stop lower than you intend to get out, because if you set it too low, then you're going to get out a capitulation. You're going to have a ton of slippage. So if I want to risk 20 cents, then I should have like a 10 cent stop, 10 or 15 cent stop. If I want to risk 50 cents, then I should have probably a 25 cent stop, for example. And I do talk about that in that video that I have on my channel. Dang, Momentum Trader, you're killing it today. And so, I mean, in the context of how I've worked through my problems in the past, I'm kind of doing the same thing this time. It might take me a few weeks, but I'm focusing in on something in specific to give me the conviction to take the trade, and then over time, as I continue taking the trades, then that hesitation will slowly go away. That's what I'm hoping, at least. Along with the ideas that the mantras that I'm going to be repeating to myself as I'm sitting here and I'm trading and I'm trying to calm myself. I still feel nervous whenever I see something come up that's an opportunity. I can still feel my adrenaline rushing. It's not good. But I have to breathe and calm myself and continue doing the patterns and reciting to myself like what I want to become, so that over time I can get out of that psychological trap that I'm having. It's not something that happens in one day, but it usually starts with starting small, focusing on one thing, and then once you build a habit of that one thing, then you can slowly increase it. But that works. That's a strategy that works with a lot of things too. Like for example, if you want to be a runner, I think Trading in the Zone talks about how he became a runner, or how he wanted to become a runner. At first, he wanted to become a runner, but he kept finding excuses for himself. Like he would only run like once a week, 10 minutes. It would always be like, oh well, I'll run after the show or whatever. And when he did run, he would always want to end early. But if you start with a goal like I'll run 3 times a week, and every time I run, I'll increase the number of steps by 1 or by 10 or by 5 or whatever, then over time that'll build up, right? Every time you go run, you take 5 more steps than last time. Eventually, you'll find you're running, instead of 1 mile, you're running 5 miles. So that's the approach that I'm trying to take. with every single one of the problems that comes up is you focus on one small thing, you repeat that until eventually you're successful at it, and then you increase the stakes over time slowly. And eventually you'll find that you get to where you want to be, and that habit is instilled in you, and you can continue repeating that even while you're doing other things and moving on to other goals. So at this point, like, cutting my losses isn't even, I don't even think about it anymore. It's just instinct. It hits my loss, I cut it. It doesn't matter. But before, that used to be a real struggle for me. And so I don't need to think about it anymore. I can focus on other things. But yeah, I appreciate that, Center Star. When I first started, if someone had told me that it would take a year, I'd be like, what? Why would it ever take that long? But building habits takes a long time. So only now do I understand why it takes a lot of traders like 3 years, 5 years, or a long time to actually get to a position where they can execute consistently. It really does matter. Thanks, Eli. Hopefully you had a green day today yourself. I haven't checked the Hangout to see if anyone's posted their P&Ls. But I think today should have been a green day if I executed the second trade better. I just messed it up. My execution was absolutely awful. And yeah, there was still a slap on the cheek that I have to give myself today for not taking that first trade on EDBL on that ABCD pattern, or even on the very first bull flag pattern. But 2 out of 4, I guess. We're 50-50 on it right now. Gotta do better. Poor execution today, but the plan came into today would have worked so well. Yeah, exactly. That's the exact same feeling that I had. I have the plan, I have the strategy. If I had just trusted myself to hit the button, then I would have been significantly in the green today. And I think the point to emphasize here is our process and our strategy is what our edge is over a long series of trades. As long as we execute on them consistently, the process is what gets us the profit. The market presents us opportunities, and we just make ourselves available to take those opportunities, be available to execute the trade when the opportunity presents itself to us. But if we can't execute it, then we're not going to be consistent. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter whether we win or lose on the trade as long as we make ourselves available for the trade to work in our favor over a long number of trades, and we're going to be profitable as long as our strategy has an edge. We need to make ourselves available for it. But I didn't make myself available. I didn't press the button today. I did on 2 of them. I missed the other 2 of them. So maybe I got to start taking a tally. I guess open up an Excel sheet and see how many opportunities I missed not hitting the button. Eventually, I'm going to have that on the side, and I'm going to look at how many opportunities I missed and think about how much money I lost. Just not making myself available. Or rather, maybe not how much money I lost, but maybe how I am not following what I want to be, which is a consistent trader who consistently executes his strategy. The money is just a byproduct. Maybe not tallying the the dollar amount, but tallying the number of times that I didn't hit the button when I should have. And the bigger that gets, the more ashamed I'll get. To the point that I'll find the conviction to change it. We're starting. We're starting with 20 shares, so even if I lose money, then it's not anything I can't handle. Oh, hey Rafi. Welcome. You ended up joining right around the time that I'm getting off though. I said I was getting off like 20 minutes ago, so I got to go to work here in a second. Yeah, I know who you are. We were talking the other day. But yeah, I think I've been rambling long enough here. I said I was going to get off 20 minutes ago. I should just get off and stop procrastinating. I got to get to work. Thanks for everyone that stopped by. I'll be back at it again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern time, per usual. Yeah, have a good one, Eli. See you later, Momentum Trader. Have a good one, Rafi. Kingman Center.